You know, there's a bit of a misconception in society when it comes to money that nobody really, I mean, I'm not going to say nobody, but a lot of people don't even notice it, you know, because there's a lot of people in society that claw and they scratch for every little crumb. And then you have the other people who money is just attracted to them. So instead of chasing money, the money actually chases them. There's a huge disparity there. I mean, you know, and we all know, you've heard that money is just an exchange of value. It's a middleman, basically. Money's only a middleman when it comes to real value. Because if you think about it, the money is not even really worth the paper that it's printed on. It's not the green ink and it's not the Benjamin Franklin faces. It's the idea. The idea is what's worth the most. The tangible piece of paper is only a physical representation. So it's actually what you can do with the money. It's only a means to an end. And, you know, in my opinion, money is an interesting topic because it flows like a currency. That's why it's called a currency, because it flows. So since money is a current, you can tap into the current and utilize its energy. Or you can be swept up by that same current and get thrown wherever it wants to take you. You know, and a lot of people, they hop into a lot of different currents, and I'm one of these kind of people too, where, you know, there's endless different kinds of currents you can hop into. Like, you know, some people might get their real estate license one minute, the next minute they're taking online courses for drop shipping and Amazon FBA and all kinds of other opportunities, right? You know, they try drop shipping, they try Facebook ads, they try everything, but they seem to get stuck, right? So everything changes when you learn how to ride the current that flows towards your personal values. That's where everything starts to change. Because when you think about this, right? Building a business or a personal brand, it's like building a boat. And that boat is going to utilize the energy of the current to bring you where you want to go. And if you're guided by your values, that's how you become vigilant and resourceful, and you're paying attention to where you're going. And then you have the accumulation of resources along the way. But that can't happen if you're stuck on the side of the riverbank. So you would need to get unstuck to get back into the flow state so you can make things happen. But the real meaning is going to take place when you're able to help others get unstuck from the side of the riverbank. You know, it's not just giving them a fish, but you're actually teaching them how to fish while you're navigating those waters in the current. This is how a community is built. Also, another thing that you'll notice with this current is that it's actually easy to get going. The hard part is maintaining it, or being consistent through the rapids and all the obstructions and the predators and everything that happens along the way. All these things that we face are inevitable, but ultimately money is energy and it's a resource. But it's a different kind of resource that can be used in many different ways. So it's not just food and shelter, but it could be used for leverage and many other things. It's a highly versatile asset. So money is energy, dude. If a currency stops, there's no energy in it. Like, think about gold. Gold is used as a storage for wealth. But there's not as much energy in gold. It doesn't flow. It's where the buck stops. It's not actively flowing like a currency. At one time it was, but it's not something we use currently. I hope that makes sense. Now, if you pay your electric bill and you use that electricity to create something, a product, what you're doing is you're basically tapping into that energy source. So it's the same when you buy healthy food. The food that nourishes your body is going to give you more energy to expend on your objective. The opposite is true when you fill your body with junk, because the junk doesn't fuel your body. And I thought about this plenty of times, right? But if you're homeless, you wouldn't have as much energy because you wouldn't have a warm bed to sleep in at night. If it's cold and it's rainy and you're stuck in the rain, you're not going to wake up feeling energized. So shelter is energy. What else can money buy? Everything that money can buy could be used as a form of energy. Even entertainment. Let's talk about entertainment, because entertainment is actually energy. Even though I talk a lot about entertainment being a distraction, entertainment this and that, but entertainment can be energizing, because it could be fun. Going out, going to a movie, going to an event of some sort. All that is really fun. You have a great time. You enjoy yourself. You experience life with your loved ones and your friends and your family. It's, I'm not totally against all that, but there's a time and a place for it. But it's energizing. Going out, socializing, and having money to spend when you're out, it definitely gives you energy. Now think about this right now. If I said, all right, I'm going to wire you a lump sum of money. It's going to take 24 hours to clear, but I'm going to deposit $100,000 into your bank account right now. As soon as you see that money clear, I guarantee you'll get some fucking energy out of that. I guarantee you're going to jump out of your seat, especially if you only make 30, 40, or 50 grand a year. Or even if you make $100,000 a year. I just deposited a whole year's salary into your bank account. Guarantee you're going to jump off the couch, feel like doing some backflips and jumping jacks right then and there. And that's a placebo, because you didn't even take anything. So where did you get the energy from, really? It was all psychological energy. It's psychic energy. Because when the money was given to you, you matched the emotional energy of the money. It's the same way money will be magnetized towards you when you embody that same energy. So when you think of money in terms of energy, then you can understand how to tap into a lot of ways to get it energetically. But think about this. If you have to slave all day with a boss that's like, oh, you got to push this boulder up this mountain for 10 hours a day. He's whipping you on your back, calling you names, waking you up in the middle of the night, calling you, telling you, let's go, we got to get ready, disturbing your sleep. He's telling you, oh, you got to do some overtime. Push this boulder up the mountain, this icy mountain, for a couple more hours. Then you can go back to sleep. Just treating you like garbage. But hey, they pay you $500,000 a year for that. So that same $500,000 is different from the $500,000 that you would get from doing something that you love to do. Let's say, you ever heard that question? What would you do if you didn't need to make money? Because a lot of people say things like they would travel the world, right? If you didn't need to make money. Because if you didn't need to make money to pay bills, people would do a lot of different things. Maybe they would get healthy. Some people would travel the world, of course. I'm one of them. Some people would spend that time on life experiences. I'm one of them. And some people, on the other hand, will sit around and watch television and drink beer and party all day, just living it up. But you see, everybody would do something different. So if you had to push a boulder up an icy mountain for 10 hours a day, that's 50 hours a week. And the occasional midnight call from the demeaning boss that talks shit to you and demoralizes you under all those poor work conditions. But, you're still making $500K. Is it worth it? Now, if you made half of that and you didn't have to go to work, let's say you only made $150K, which is less than half of what the guy pushing the boulder is getting. $150K a year is a livable wage, man. But now you can pretty much do whatever you want now. And you don't have a boss telling you what to do and treating you like garbage. Most people would definitely pick the $150K. I mean, I would. It would be kind of really strange, actually, if you didn't. So you take the $150K and you live your best life. Think about it. Now you can do whatever you want. You always wanted to write a book? Now you can write a book. You have the time to do it. You always wanted to start a business? Now you have the time to start a business. You always wanted to travel? Now you can travel. I think most people would start a side hustle, to be honest. They would collect the $150K passively, and then they would work on some sort of side hustle project to try to invest in themselves. Some people would probably try to invest in other things. But you see, it's not even really the $150K that's worth so much. It's the time that you now have available that's worth millions. That's the energy. So Even though you're getting paid $350,000 less, which is less than half of what the guy pushing the boulder up the hill is getting, you're more rich with the 150 and the life that you want to live, if you use it right. I'll even go as far as to say 1 million for pushing that boulder up the hill as a job. Oh, but you got to do it until you're retired. That's one thing I forgot to say. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to do the boulder job for 2 years, make a quick 2 mil, and be out. No, it's not going to work like that. Because the point that I'm trying to make is that you're selling out to something. You have to commit to one thing. So you have a choice right now. You could take the 1 million per year with the boulder chained to your ankle. You can drive your Porsche to work, go home and sit in front of your giant big flat screen TV with your swimming pool. But you know, tomorrow for 10 hours, which is more than half of your life, you're basically in hell for those 10 hours until you get back home. But now think about it. When you get back home, you're a millionaire, right? Basically, you're living in an awesome neighborhood. But for the time that you spend working at that job, being a millionaire means nothing. I think the guy with the 150K doing whatever he wants with the 10 extra hours a day, 50 hours a week, is more rich as long as he utilizes those hours. You know, because with that 150, you can choose whatever life you want to live. You can choose whatever purpose you want. So I think the guy with the 150 doing whatever he wants with the extra 10 hours a day, 50 hours a week, is more rich as long as he utilizes those hours in the right way. You know, because with that 150, you can choose whatever life purpose that you want. What choice is going to give you more energy? If you say the 1 million with the boulder, you sold your life away. Screw that 1 million. Do you know how much you could potentially make if you decided to dedicate 50 hours a week to something purposefully that you wanted to do? Something productive? You could potentially make 3 million or 30 million. There's people doing it all over the planet right now, from all countries and all different backgrounds. There's no excuses. Now, what do all those people have that the people who just settle for less don't have? The people that settle for the beer on the couch, in the bar on a Friday night, at the poker game on a Saturday evening, in the Sunday night football, in the TV show, with the sitcoms after work every day, kicking their feet up with a couple of beers. What's the difference between the person who settled for that and the person who said, no, I don't see myself doing this. I see something different. And they say to themselves, you know what? When I get out of work, I'm going to work on my side hustle until I go to sleep. And when I'm sleeping, I'm going to work on my side hustle and my dreams. And then they go ahead and they wake up early the next day and they go work out before they go to work, their day job, just to get off on the right foot. And then when they get home from work, they may do a little bit more of a workout just to rejuvenate themselves a little bit before they go work on their side hustle, their passion project. See, what's the difference between these two types of people? I'd like to know. I'll tell you this right now, man. There's a huge difference. The one that doesn't kick their feet up and the one that does the extra work on their side hustle has more energy. Why, though? Purpose. That's why. You know, some people don't even think about purpose. But the purpose of a human being is not just to exist. It's to create. It's to influence. It's to evolve. We're wired to push boundaries, to challenge the status quo, and to leave our mark. A mark that goes beyond our limited time on this planet. You see, human beings seek to control their lives, right? And they seek to control the world around them. And that's where the money comes in. You know, it's not about stacking cash, it's about energy and freedom. You see, when you use the money to delegate, you're not just paying for someone's time. You're buying back your own life. You're shifting the energy to break away from the trap, and you're moving towards the things that matter, which is your vision, your purpose. You see, money lets you increase your time, and it lets you shape your own world. So if you're paying somebody to think for you, somebody who's really skilled at thinking in a specific way, a person that can figure something out quicker than you can, essentially you're buying your time and you're buying energy, because those two things are finite in the same way. So if you're paying for a service, that service is going to do something for you that would cost you time and energy. So let's just say time is energy and energy is time. So whether it's a service, whether it's an investment, or whether it's a commodity, all those three things, they do the same thing energetically for the most part. But when you look at the person who has been on the couch all weekend, kicking their feet up, it's not entirely their fault, but they're not energetically tapped into what money actually is. So basically they're trapped. You see what I'm saying? They're trapped. A lot of times they don't even have the energy to break out of it. They're living the illusion, man. Living the illusion. Don't want to get stuck in that trap, buddy. So if you can get into the mind frame that money is not some giant living out on the hillside somewhere, and money is actually a spiritual entity, and people have been deceived into cliche sayings like money is the root of all evil, for example, or money doesn't grow on trees, things like that. You see, these things have been repeated over and over again because they sound clever and they sound suitable, but they're very misleading because it makes you think like money is some giant living out on the hillside somewhere, unattainable. Sort of like the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy. It's a misguided fairy tale. And it's been passed down for generations. It puts you in a scarcity mindset instead of a mindset of abundance. Now let's think about the money as the root of all evil, right? That was very clever. That was a wicked saying, in my opinion, because what it did was it cleverly misled large masses and cultures of people into being complacent as a have-not, a bottom feeder. Because it's really not the money that is the root of all evil. It's the deception and greed. And who's to say that greed is actually the root of all evil? Maybe it's envy. It could be pride. It could be ignorance or idolatry. But all of that ties into the deception, you see? So whatever it is, these are all questions that should be explored on another time. But the fact still remains. Money is an energetic value exchange. You know, it's like saying water is the root of all evil. You need to drink water to survive. You need water to bathe in. If you want to go swimming, I think you need water for that too. So, if we use water as a currency, is it water that's the root of all evil? I would think a little more practically than that. I'd have to say that it's ignorance and greed, idolatry, or even pride. You can be greedy with resources. You can also be greedy with power and control. And you can be greedy with ignorance and bliss. You see, all those things are more intoxicating than acquiring resources and eking out a considerable living. Because if you look at the state of the world right now, right? Look at the people that are in power right now. And I'm not just talking about the ones that they plaster on the TV screen to show us. I know, I'm talking about the ones that are hiding behind the curtain. Bunch of cowards, in my opinion. But if you take all those leaders, right? All the ones that are causing all the wars and all the authoritarianism. If you lock them in a room together, they would eventually just kill each other, man. That's the nature of the beast. So the energy is neither negative or positive. It's both. You know, there's a polarity when it comes to energy. So you can't just sit there and say money is evil. Money's actually neutral. but it's what you do with that energy that it gives you. There's a negative force and there's a positive force, magnetically. Now you can use the money for negative, and you can also use it for positive. So, I mean, the people that are using it for whatever greedy games that they're playing are using it negatively. So if you think about money as the root of all evil, you're trapping yourself. You're deluding yourself. A magnet is not evil or righteous. It's just magnetic. It's actually all part of the divine. It's an energy field. So even the people that are using the money negatively to do horrible things, that's part of it. And in actuality, we got to get to a point where we understand that all the negativity in this world is all part of the game. It's all part of it, man. Don't look at it as good or bad or evil. Money is just a valuable energetic frequency that needs to be utilized properly. That's just it, man. But if you're going to think of it as the root of all evil, I think the evil has got you right where it wants you. So knock it off. Now, that being said, let's get back to cooking up. Because we're moving into an era where we really need to become aware of where things are shifting in this world. You see, people crave connection and they crave authenticity because there's less of it available. So connection and authenticity are going to be held at a higher value. And when you make your own values valuable, you'll notice the emotional, monetary charge start to happen. So if you want to tap into the frequency of money or the flow of money, you got to use your values to raise your energy. And if you have no life force energy within you, you don't have the energy to think in certain ways that would lead you towards the money. You see, it's not just physical energy. I'm talking about mental and spiritual energies. Because physical energy can only get you so far monetarily. You can dig trenches out in the hot sun and get paid $20 an hour. You could be doing construction in the blistering cold winter. Any of these physical, manual labor, hard labor jobs. Mostly, these people are using their physical energy. They're working physically for their money, so they get paid the least. Then the next stage is mental energy. Those who can think and use their mind, use their brain power, they earn a little bit more. So they're on another tier. But the highest tier, in actuality, is spiritual. It's a spiritual way to get money. And the spiritual way is going to transcend the physical and the mental. It actually works with all three synergistically. It's like a trinity. However, you got to keep in mind though, in your pursuit of getting money, you got to understand one thing. No matter how much money you earned or attained, it means nothing if you don't have your health or your mental well-being. Like, think about it. If we worked ourselves to the point where we're bedbound or we're diagnosed with something serious, or even worse, we only have a certain amount of time left to live because of it, we would give back all the money to have our vitality and our health back. So never sacrifice any of those three things for the illusion of money. Because your real wealth is having all three of those things in abundance. And from time to time, some of them might go out of balance naturally, and that's okay. But never neglect any one of them. So that's why I created this video. I'm going to link it here. And, you know, it'll help us get started on our health, to keep us on track, to build the habits of health. And there's 3 fundamental health habits that we should follow. So that's why I made this video here. Check it out. Until the next time, on the next climb, I'll see you again, my friend.